information that there are certain type of people who should not be born. And that is something that our country politically will not tolerate.
The crack program was founded by Barbara Harris of Stanton 2 years ago. She says the cash incentive is motivating addicts to do the right thing. Reporting from Orange County, Mike Landa, KNX 1070.
KNX News Time, 6:12. More traffic and weather together. Here's Christina Griego.
Good news for you riding Carson. South on the 405 past Wilmington. An accident in the two left lanes has now been pushed to the right shoulder, but not before backing up traffic from the Harbor Freeway south on the 405. Let's go to South Orange County. Here's Randy Keith.
Southbound side of the 5, Chris, gets very heavy at Alton Parkway as you make your way down to Lake Forest. That's because of an accident that we saw pushed out of lanes and off the freeway. The northbound side gets very heavy from Culver as you make your way into Anaheim. Chris?
Let's see how the ride is like at the Santa Ana Canyon. Here's Chuck Rowe.
It is ugly. Eastbound side of the 91, jammed up solid from Imperial Highway out to Surface Club Drive. Once you get beyond that point, it stays slow, but it will ease up just a bit as you head out toward the 15. Chris?
Now, also, we're getting word of a new crash, Chuck, in near Corona over on the westbound 91, approaching the 71. It looks like a number 2 lane from the left is blocked, and traffic is quickly building here west on the 91. And I'll be back in 6 minutes with more traffic. KNX 1070.
Starting to get a little foggy along the coast. That was in our forecast. Santa Barbara reporting fog reducing visibility to about 3/4 of a mile in Oxnard. The visibility is down to just a few hundred feet in the fog, and it'll stay foggy overnight and into tomorrow morning as well.
This is a sale announcement. Please listen carefully. After 43 years, the Wilshire Company for Men in Westwood Village is going out of business. They've lost their lease and must leave before the end of the year. In order to sell to the bare walls, the Wilshire Company has reduced its $3 million inventory to ridiculously low prices. Hi, this is Don Klages, former president of the Menswear Association of America, to tell you that Rod and Kate Wilshire have decided to retire, kick back, do some traveling, and play more golf. Their store, the Wilshire Company, has a reputation for being one of the finest menswear stores in Southern California, carrying Canale, Hickey Freeman, Ralph Lauren, Gitman, Talbot, Zanella, and more. And now everything has been reduced to liquidation prices. Every suit, every sport coat, every slack, every shirt, every tie, every sweater, in short, everything is now 1/2 price off or more. Some 60, 70, and even 80% off. You won't believe the values. The Wilshire Company, 10924 Weyburn Avenue in downtown Westwood Village, just off Westwood Boulevard. The Wilshire Company since 1956.
The Hollywood Chamber of Commerce is rolling out the red carpet today for the police and fire departments.
The smell of grilled hamburgers, steaks, and chicken is spreading across Hollywood as community volunteers serve hundreds of meals to local police officers and firefighters. It's Appreciation Day all across the Southland, but here in Hollywood, Bill Welsh tells KNX they'll keep the grills hot until midnight. Welsh says they used to serve just cold sandwiches.
Let me realize there are a lot of police officers who were coming to work at other times and weren't enjoying it. So we now have expanded. We start around 11 o'clock in the morning cooking hamburgers and hot dogs and potato salads available, macaroni salad, cookies. And we will serve until about midnight. And in that way, every police officer that will be on duty today in the Hollywood area will have a chance for a free meal.
Hollywood Division Captain Mike Downing tells KNX this event comes at a good time when morale is low because of the ongoing police scandal. Reporting from Hollywood, Diane Thompson, KNX 1070.
KNX News Time, 6:15. Sports time on KNX, and the Dodgers could be on the verge of losing their starting third baseman. Here's Steve Grad with the story.
It's Adrian Beltre. All right, why would they lose Adrian Beltre? Because the Dodgers discovered that he was under 16 years old when they signed him. You can't do that in his home in the Dominican Republic. It was an accident. It wasn't the Fox people either. It was the O'Malley people. And now the commissioner's office will investigate, and if they rule against the Dodgers for breaking the rules, he could become a free agent, and the Dodgers could be forbidden from signing him. So today the Dodgers sent a minor league player to be named later to the Florida Marlins for third baseman Kevin Ory, who was a superstar in the Cubs minor league system. Never made it really well in the major leagues. He played 97 games for the Marlins last year. Okay, the Holyfield-Lewis rematch is set for tomorrow in Las Vegas. I'll tell you up front, we'll have free round-by-round coverage of the bout from the Thomas and Mack Center. Remember the bout exactly this date in March. They came out in a controversial draw. Neither fighter looked real good, but it was certain that Lewis won. Anyway, it was a debacle. And here's Emmanuel Seward, who is Lewis's trainer, talking up this fight.
It's going to be a good fight, totally different fight from the first fight. You could forget the first fight. I think both fighters, I know, are coming out because they're disappointed in their performances.
That's right. So they're disappointed in their performances, so you got to take their word it's going to be better. Right, Don King?
It's not going to be hype that sells this fight. It's going to be a fight that sells this fight.
And based on the last fight, are you going to pay $49.95, $95, $99.95 to your cable system and get pay-per-view? I don't know. How many times are we going to be suckered? Lakers host the Rockets today. Neither Shaq nor Barkley will play because of their suspensions. And Robert Horry was activated today. He had soreness in his left knee for almost a week and a half. And they waived Sam Jacobson to make room. Number 1, Connecticut won its first game of the season in a rematch of the championship game from last year. It was free on TV, by the way. Number 10, Duke lost to UConn 71-66. Martina Hingis, Lindsay Davenport, Venus Williams, Natalie Tauzier, the top 4 seeds advanced into the semifinals at the Advanta Championships. And it's Fred Couples and David Duval, a 5-shot lead after the first round of the Shark Shootout at Thousand Oaks. Sports 15 and 45. Steve Grad, KNX 1070.
Traffic time on KNX once again, sponsored by Charity's Choice Vehicle Donation Center. Chris?
We're going to begin with Tommy Jackson looking at traffic in Duarte.
Eastbound side of the 210 at Mountain Stall is out of lanes now. The 210 eastbound is packed in solid from Fair Oaks, gradually thins by the time you get to the 605. Chris?
Double trouble on the San Bernardino Freeway, first in El Monte, west 10 at Garvey. Only the 3 right lanes open. This is a crash that's working in the center divider left lanes. That's backing you up. Solid backup from Azusa on the west 10. The eastbound side is stop and go as well from the 710 on out to Rosemead. That's where we have a crash reported in the center divider, possibly injuries involved here as well. Let's go out to Agoura. Here's Steve Cusack.
Eastbound side of the 101 at Lindero Canyon. Earlier accident cleared. However, traffic is still slow from about Canaan as you make your way down through Agoura up through Calabasas Grade and remains pretty sluggish over towards the 405. Northbound side of the 101 breaks free right around Calabasas and looks great. In fact, all the way out towards the Conejo Grade. Chris?
And in East LA, West 60 to the South 710, that connector has been reopened. Let's go out to Randy Keith quickly. He's over Buena Park.
Eastbound side of the 91, Chris. Nothing unusual here. You'll find slowing coming away from Knott to the 5 and then again from Brookhurst to Harbor. Chris?
Back in 6 minutes with more traffic on KNX 1070.
Once again, tax season is coming, leaving taxpayers scrambling to find as many write-offs as they can. One place many people don't think to look for that deduction is in their driveways. Old cars may look like worthless eyesores, but to thousands of people, their used cars, trucks, motorhomes, and boats can be another way to reduce money they pay in taxes.
One toll-free phone call to the Charity's Choice Donation Center at 877-7-CHOICE may help save you time and money. You decide which charity needs your help the most while taking the advantage of this worry-free car donation program.
Consider donating your car, truck, boat, or RV and get a great tax deduction. Avoid the hassle of trading or selling your car. Call Charity's Choice Donation Center, toll-free, 877-7-CHOICE.
They will take care of all the arrangements, including free towing. Call now before the value of your vehicle decreases in the months ahead. Save your time and money. Please call toll-free 877-7-CHOICE. 877-7-CHOICE. That's 877-7-CHOICE.
Consult your tax advisor. The preceding a paid announcement.
Steve, this place is so romantic.
Yeah, except for that woman staring at us. Oh, God, she's coming over.
I've been watching you two make googly eyes at each other all night.
That's great.
My husband said leave him alone. It's probably their first date.
You should listen to your husband.
But I just had to say you kids are going to have the cutest looking baby.
That's attractive.
And I got to tell you, he'll look even cuter in a Stephanie Slate crib with safe, easy drop side system from Storecraft.
That's nice.
Available at 366 retail stores.
That's enough.
And I'd go for the Even Flow Super Saucer Exercise Center, which I've located online and at 28 retail stores to help with baby's first steps.
Security.
And I got to tell you, my husband...
StoreRunner.com is shopping experts in every conceivable field, like Wilma Fogg in baby stuff.
Hey, why all this baby talk? We've only just met.
Whoa, red flag. You're wasting your time here, sister.
Thank you.
Someone seems to have a little problem with commitment.
StoreRunner.com. Log on. Let's shop.
KNX News Time, 6:21. Business Time with Randy Riddle, standing by live at the KNX Financial Desk and sponsored by Fidelity Investments. Randy?
Dave, a cheerful mood on Wall Street today as investors welcomed new numbers from the government, which reported that labor productivity in the third quarter posted its biggest gain in 18 months. And at the same time, unit labor costs went up just 0.6%, a smaller increase than we saw in the first and second quarters. No sign of inflation there. The Dow Jones Industrials went up about 174 points to 10,769. The S&P 500 up 14.5 points to 1396. Winners outnumbered losers 11-9 on the NYSE, where volume was a heavy 895 million shares. The Russell 2000 Small Cap Index was up 2 points. We have to say, though, that market internals were unimpressive. 71 big board stocks rose to new highs. 120 fell to new lows. On the NASDAQ, shares of San Diego-based Qualcomm extended their amazing run. J.P. Morgan lifted its price target on the stock to $460, and shares of Qualcomm zoomed up more than $32 to a new high of exactly $378 a share. The NASDAQ Composite Index closed at a record 3221, up 24 points today, up almost 119 points for the week. It was a down week on the Tokyo stock market, but the losses were modest, the Nikkei average falling 0.5%. U.S. and Chinese officials meeting in Beijing have been discussing terms for getting China into the World Trade Organization, but it's been tough going. The two sides agreed to try one last time tomorrow. The benchmark U.S. long bond was up 22.30, the yield coming down to 6.03%. December light crude oil up 58 cents to 24.91 a barrel. Again, the Dow was up about 174 points today, up 65 for the week. Live from the business desk, I'm Randy Riddle, KNX 1070.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Teller will juggle 3 chainsaws while I tickle his feet with this feather. Ready, Teller?
At Fidelity, we know not all investors are alike. Take Penn and Teller. Penn likes to avoid risk. Teller's a bit more daring. They do, however, share the same new way to invest online. Power Street by Fidelity, the first site with trading tools customized by Lycos to fit your unique way of doing things. And the only site that lets you access real-time reports from CBS Market Watch and analysis from Lehman Brothers. Because not all investors are alike.
For our final trick, Teller will lie on this bed of nails while I run over him with this cement mixer. Ready, Teller?
Power Street, with online stock trades starting at $14.95 and qualifying accounts. Online trading gets personal. Call 1-888-FIDELITY or visit Fidelity.com for complete details. Fidelity Brokerage Services Incorporated, member NYSE SIPC.
I don't know about you, but my parents are always bragging to me about how much less things were when they were younger. You know, like a movie was a quarter, gas was about 50 cents a gallon, and you could pick up a car for, a couple of dollars. Oh, they even have this story about how my grandmother would go to the local doctor, and it would only cost her a chicken. Well, I will be the first to agree, a chicken doesn't go quite as far as it used to, which is why, you know, I was skeptical when I took one of my kids to the doctor I wanted to, and it only cost me a $15 copay. I kept asking, are you sure? Good thing I have a health plan that understands that even though times change, my family still needs health care, and I don't have $1 million. With Blue Cross of California, I got a plan that gives us exactly what we need, and it's within my budget. And I'm sure one day I will bore my kids with stories of how I actually used to get a mocha cafe latte for only $2.50 a cup. Blue Cross of California, the power of blue.
Blue Cross of California is an independent licensee of the Blue Cross Association.
We want to help you get where you're going this evening. That's why we have Christina Griego on duty in Traffic Central this evening.
That's right. In Long Beach, on the northbound 710 past the 91, we had an accident in lanes. It's now been cleared to the right shoulder, but not before backing traffic up from Del Amo north on the 710. In Lawndale, we had an earlier crash north on the 405 south of Hawthorne Boulevard. That cleared, but traffic is still recovering from the Harbor Freeway north on the 405. Go out to Thousand Oaks. Here's Steve Cusack.
Southbound side of the 101 at Lynn Road just before it. It's an accident clear to the right shoulder. Traffic is quite slow coming down the Conejo grade from it. And once you get beyond that, nice looking drive through the rest of Thousand Oaks. Chris.
In Arleta on the northbound side of the 5 past the 170 right around Terrabello, we had a couple of stalls here in the left lanes. It's now been pushed to the right shoulder. They've been pushed to the right shoulder, but traffic on the northbound 5 very slow from Buena Vista, and the north 170 is slow from around Roscoe. We'll be back in 6 minutes with more traffic on KNX 1070.
Check out our weather forecast with CBS 2's Pamela Wright.
You'll see only a few clouds around tonight and early tomorrow morning. Lows will hover near 50, and then a quick warm-up on the way for your Saturday. Highs will be well above the norm in the mid-70s usually, but we're expecting widespread 80s across the basin and low 90s returning to the valleys. The coast will remain in the low to mid-70s. Sunday won't be quite as warm. Mid-70s return downtown, near 80 for the valleys, then cooler and cloudier for next week. In the CBS 2 Weather Center, Pamela Wright, KNX 1070.
Qantas Airways is offering new direct service to Brisbane. Qantas, the spirit of Australia. Call your travel agent or Qantas Airlines today.
KNX News Time, 6:26.
Here's an editorial by George Nikolov, Vice President and General Manager of KNX.
The diagnosis is clear. Health maintenance organizations are facing increasing legal costs and tedious appeal procedures, and the conditions are getting worse. So one health plan, United Healthcare, made a business decision that may affect the HMO industry and other healthcare providers. United Healthcare says it will no longer require doctors to obtain authorization when deciding on treatments. The move gives power back to the medical profession and not insurance consultants. And KNX knows United Healthcare will benefit from the change in guidelines, and so will its 800,000 clients in California. The company now will face less regulatory control. Since there are legislative campaigns underway aimed at forcing more control on health care plans, United Healthcare won't have to worry about that. Also, there will be a marked reduction in legal fees to fight patients who believe they were denied treatment. The biggest plus is that health care decisions now will be made by patients and their doctors. We hope the entire HMO industry follows United Healthcare's new process. KNX says it is a good business decision and should provide patients with a greater say in their health care.
You've been listening to an editorial by George Nikolov, Vice President and General Manager of KNX. If you have a different viewpoint, we'd like to hear from you.
Hey, Frank, long time no see. So, how's work treating you?
Same old, Russell.
Don't tell me you're still working for CW.
Hey, it's a good job.
Frank, do you have any idea how hot the job market is? You could be making twice what you're making now.
Look, I checked out an internet job site like you told me.
Which one?
Oh, I don't know, career.something.
No, I told you there's only one that's worth anything, jobs.com. They've got the best jobs and the best way to apply.
Jobs.com?
Listen, they've got all the good job openings at great companies. And when you find one you want, you just click the resume button to send your resume to the right person, instead of just dumping it into the company's email like those other internet job sites. You even get a confirmation back.
You know, maybe I should try again.
Well, it never hurts to look. But this time, Frank, go to jobs.com. Just remember jobs. Jobs. Think you can do that?
Why, anything for you, Russell.
Gee, Frank, didn't know you cared.
I don't.
Check out your opportunities at jobs.com. Go to jobs.com or use internet keyword jobs and visit us today.
The new 2000 Toyotas are here. It's the biggest launch in Toyota history with the biggest savings. Be the first to drive home a tough 2000 Tacoma or powerful Tacoma Pre-Runner. They're available in a 4x2, 4x4, or an extra cab. And check out Toyota's all-new full-size Tundra. This incredible workhorse is powered by the revolutionary iForce V8 and comes with a 4-door access cab. Go anywhere in a Toyota SUV. The 2000 RAV4 is cool and fun to drive. 4Runner is still Toyota's best-selling SUV. And the new V8 Land Cruiser is incredibly luxurious. So hurry. The new 2000 Toyotas are at your Toyota dealer now. We make it easy on you. Right now, it's easy to save on any new 2000 Toyota. There's low financing, special leases, even extra value packages. So see your Toyota dealer today.
All you need to know, KNX 1070 News Radio. The time is 6:30 on this Friday, the 12th of November. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dave Zorn. You're tuned to KNX 1070, and these are the places where there's news. Newport, Rhode Island, new details today on how Egypt Air Flight 990 plunged into the Atlantic, but investigators need that cockpit voice recorder to help them find out why. Capitol Hill, President Clinton and the Republican-led Congress may battle it out for weeks before reaching a new budget agreement. Los Angeles, a cruise ship engineer arrested in Miami is expected to return to L.A. to face charges he ordered the illegal dumping of oil at sea. Golden, Colorado, a 22-year-old man is sentenced to 6 years in prison for selling a weapon to the teenagers who killed 13 people at Columbine High School. Santa Monica, a Veterans Week celebration is being held this weekend at the Museum of Flying in honor of the legendary Flying Tigers. Details coming up on KNX, along with sports from Steve Grad.
A guy with a lot of NBA mileage on him says that fight between Shaq and Charles Barkley was not typical of an NBA bout. We'll have more on Lawrence Phillips' suspension by the 49ers at 6:45.
This is Randy Riddle at the business desk. A fine day for the blue chips and banking stocks. The Dow gained 174 points. The NASDAQ closed at a record high. Business news on KNX at 6:50.
Getting down to business, we're checking the freeways with Christina Griego.
Let's begin at the East LA interchange. Southbound on the 5, just right around the 101. A tipster called and said there was about 3 vehicles and a couple of CHP units there all on the right shoulder, but the flashing lights and whatnot has the southbound 5 very slow, approaching the 110, and it stays very crowded into the city of Commerce. You get a bit of a break, but it slows again at the 605, and it stays slow as you make your way into Orange County. Let's go to Randy Keith. He's checking the Hollywood freeway for you.
Out of the downtown LA area, Chris, the northbound side of the 101, you'll find slow and go, stop and go conditions from Alameda most of the way up to the Cahuenga Pass. Chris?
What about the southbound side? Did you get a look at that, Randy?
Yeah, Chris, the southbound side slows from about Western as you make your way towards Benton Way, then better speeds towards the 4 level.
All right, let's go out to Steve Cusack checking traffic in Lost Hills.
It's a slow one eastbound side of the 101. Very slow between Canaan and Topanga Canyon. Speeds pick up at Topanga Canyon. Slightly better, maybe 30, 40 miles an hour at best, over towards the 405. Chris?
Check row over El Monte.
Eastbound side of the San Bernardino Freeway. Before Rosemead Boulevard, this injury accident continues to tie up the left lane, and the carpool lane traffic is jammed leaving City Terrace. Once you get past that, a stalled bus blocking the left lane, East 10 past Santa Anita. Westbound 10 at Garvey, the accident cleared from the left lane, but it's jammed up solid from Azusa. Chris?
We have a signal alert being issued in Anaheim Hills. We'll get to that in 6 minutes on KNX 1070.
59 degrees currently in Hollywood. Had a high of 74 in downtown Los Angeles today. Expecting highs around 80 tomorrow and then 74 on Sunday, with increasing cloudiness Sunday and a chance of showers during the day on Monday. KNX News Time, 6:32. As investigators learn more about the final moments of Egypt Air Flight 990, they're focusing on the human factor.
Whatever was happening aboard Flight 990, it was certainly frightening. NTSB Chairman Jim Hall says after the autopilot disconnect, the elevators on the tail were adjusted to point the nose down. Power to the engines was reduced. For 20 seconds, it was like a weightless free fall. The speed peaked at nearly the speed of sound. Cockpit alarms went off. Then the nose started to come up, inflicting 2.5 Gs on the passengers and crew. Then the engines were manually shut down.
We cannot at this time explain the circumstances that were occurring on Flight 990 that resulted in the flight profile I just described.
They need to know why all of this was going on in the cockpit. And to that end, the search goes on for the cockpit voice recorder out in the Atlantic. Lou Miliano, CBS News, Newport Naval Station.
In Washington, House Democrats warn the battle over the budget could heat up, keeping President Clinton and the Republican-led Congress feuding for weeks. There are accusations that each side will drain Social Security to fund pet projects, and there's a fear that the tussling will continue over a wide range of policies.
As budget talks head into another week, major stumbling blocks lie ahead before a settlement's reached. But Weekly Standard editor Bill Kristol fears the GOP side may not have much to show for their actions.
If you're a Republican, the good news is there's been no horrible disaster or blow-up in the last few months. But the bad news is there's no real accomplishment to speak of.
Kristol reminds the folks back home don't seem to be mad at Republicans as the impeachment furor fades, but he warns that may not be enough to keep Republicans in control after 2000. Dave McConnell for CBS News, Capitol Hill.
A cruise line engineer has been arrested in Miami in connection with an oil dumping case in Los Angeles. Federal prosecutors allege that in 1994, Øystein Larsen ordered the illegal dumping of oil from the Royal Caribbean cruise ship Nordic Prince as it cruised toward Los Angeles, and then he covered it up. Larsen, who was indicted last month on 3 counts relating to oil pollution laws, says he'll plead innocent when he returns to Los Angeles to face the charges. If convicted, Larsen could get up to 15 years in prison and fined $750,000. KNX News Time, 6:35. Coming up, the prosecution rests in the 3rd Texas dragging death trial.
Criminals of America, look out. There's a new hero on these mean streets.
Freeze, punk. Buffet, homicide.
Next, friends. Phoebe finds a policeman's badge.
You're supposed to take that back. I'm totally drunk with power.
And takes the law into her own hands.
I'm in Vice. In fact, I'm undercover right now.
Well, that is until she tries to arrest the wrong guy.
Excuse me, is this your car? Because I'm a cop.
So am I. Where'd you find my badge?
Oh, no.
Next, friends. Tonight at 7 on KTLA 5.
In L.A., only one news team wakes you up and gets you going with a smile. It's the KTLA Morning News with Carlos, Mark, Barbara, Sam, and the gang. Join us and do more in the morning than most stations do all day. Get up, get the news, and get your laugh on. Next week, country music legend Reba McEntire graces us with a song, and female drumming sensation Sheila E. rocks the house. Plus the most trusted news, traffic, and weather in L.A. And it all starts at 5:30 Monday morning on KTLA 5.
KNX News Time, 6:36. Following testimony from 27 witnesses over 3 days, the prosecution has rested in the 3rd Texas dragging death trial. One of the final witnesses against Sean Berry was an FBI forensics expert who told the jury that blood spots of the victim, James Byrd Jr., were found on Berry's clothing and a boot. Berry is the last of 3 white men to be tried for the gruesome murder of the black East Texas man. Prosecutors are trying to convince the jury that Berry was more than the bystander he has claimed he was. It was Berry's truck that dragged Byrd to his death. 2 white supremacists, John King and Lawrence Brewer, were convicted earlier this year, and they have been sentenced to death. The 22-year-old man who sold a handgun to the teenagers who carried out the Columbine High School massacre in April was sentenced today for his crime. Judge Henry Nieto said he gave Mark Maines the maximum penalty because what happened at Columbine was the worst case of what the law was designed to prevent, namely a minor using a gun to kill.
The Flying Tigers.
KNX News Time is 6:37. Traffic and weather together on KNX every 6 minutes. Let's go back out and check your freeways with Christina Griego.
Okay, let's begin in Anaheim Hills. We have a signal alert just being issued now. East on the 91, east of Lakeview. The number 3, 4, and 5 lanes, counting from the left, are blocked. This is because of an injury wreck involving a big rig. They're going to be shut down for at least an hour. Now, already the 91 is jammed out of Anaheim Hills into the Santa Ana Canyon, so this is going to make for a tougher ride. If you don't have to get on the 91, I would avoid it. Now, if you're heading towards Lake Elsinore, north on the 15, right around Lake Street, we have an injury crash on the right shoulder. One of the vehicles also involved in this crash is in the center divider. That's causing a little bit of a spectator problem there, north on the 15. Let's go back out to Chuck Rowe. He's over El Monte.
Still quite a mess here on the San Bernardino Freeway, Chris. Eastbound side of the 10 before Rosemead Boulevard, where we have this injury accident blocking the carpool and the left lane. Traffic very slow from before the 710. Now, once you get beyond that, it's a stalled bus blocking the left lane, East 10 at Santa Anita. Then we had the accident West 10 at Garvey. That's been clear, but it's still very slow on the westbound 10 from Azusa. Chris?
Yeah, I don't think the 60 is much better, Chuck. It looks very slow out of the interchange, according to our graphics, and it stays slow all the way into Diamond Bar, eastbound Pomona Freeway. Back in 6 minutes with more traffic. KNX 1070.
We've been telling you about the dense fog that's begun to form along the coast of central and southern California. As of 6 o'clock, the fog was dense in many locations. For example, through the Santa Barbara Channel and around Point Mugu toward Malibu. Visibility is below a quarter of a mile near Vandenberg Air Force Base and at Lompoc, Santa Barbara, and Oxnard airports. Roadways, according to the National Weather Service, are at risk for hazardous travel tonight because of the dense fog. And they include the Pacific Coast Highway, the 101 north of Ventura, and the 246 near Lompoc. That's why the National Weather Service has issued a dense fog advisory for all coastal locations of San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara, Ventura, and Los Angeles counties until 9:30 tomorrow morning. They advise using low beam headlights in foggy conditions. Don't use your high beam lights, and do allow for extra distance between yourself and that vehicle in front of you. Once again, visibility down to just a few hundred feet in many locations along the coast of Southern California this evening. We have 59 degrees currently here in Hollywood at 6:39 on KNX.
This is big news. We're #1 at Cerritos Pontiac GMC.
That's because we're the largest Pontiac GMC dealer in California, and we're making headlines.
Right now at Cerritos Pontiac GMC, choose from our big selection of new Pontiacs and GMCs and get huge savings.
We're making California news.
At Cerritos Pontiac GMC, we sell more Pontiacs and GMCs than any other dealer in the area. And right now, get huge savings on our large inventory of new and pre-owned cars, trucks, vans, and sport utilities.
Here's more big news. We're the #1 Suburban and Yukon dealer in the state, so you'll find a sport utility in stock and at a price that's right for you.
At Cerritos, the savings are big and the selection is huge. And that's why we're #1, and you'll always be #1 with us.
Being #1 is big news.
Check out our big selection and great deals. You'll save like never before at Cerritos Pontiac GMC, 10901 East 183rd Street at the Cerritos Auto Square.
We're here at 3-Day Suit Broker talking with Dan.
Hello?
So, Dan, what were you saying about fools and their money?
I said they buy suits at large chain stores.
Ouch.
It used to be me. I was your average Joe who believed that shopping in a big-name store meant I was getting a better suit.
Not the reality, is it?
Not even close.
Truth is, no store offers customers more suit for their money than 3-Day Suit Broker.
Tell me about it. I just bought a beautiful Italian suit for only $179.
Yep, all our brands, including top labels like Hugo Boss and Yves Saint Laurent, are routinely 50% less than department and chain stores.
Even your $99 suits are better quality than those I've seen priced much higher tire.
Hey, our job is to make every man look good regardless of budget.
I also like the no-pressure attitude here.
Well, our salespeople aren't on commission, Dan.
No, they're patient, helpful, not like at other places where you feel like you're being stalked.
You mean where they're closing in and the next thing you know, it's ka-ching?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Come see why the TV News called 3-Day Soup Broker a best consumer buy for men's suits and sportswear. For the location nearest you, call 888-811-SUIT. No one gives you more for your money, guaranteed. 3-Day Soup Broker, where the smart money goes.
Open only Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays.
KNX News Time, 6:42.
Alcohol combined with caffeine. It's more than just my main coping mechanism. It's emergency medicine. Hi, folks. This is Bob Harris. Actually, that really describes my typical writing routine. Lately, I've become quite fond of having a beer in one hand and a cola in the other, sort of a yin and yang to keep the juices flowing, literally. Now, it turns out that if I suddenly suffer a stroke, I've got state-of-the-art medication. This from a team of researchers in Texas, where drinking with both hands is more than just healthy. It's just good table manners. They discovered the stroke-treating effects of a Heineken Slurpee by inducing blood clots in the brains of lab rats, who one of these days are going to have to form a union, and then testing a bunch of common substances to see which one de-stroked the rat noggins. Caffeine didn't help. Alcohol made things worse, but the two of them together were like a Reese cup. They reduced the damage by about 80%, which is as good as the best synthetic bottled pill medicine thingies. Now, there are limits. For one, most people aren't rats, and if drug companies wanted to make money off of caffeine and alcohol, they'd be in the pro sports business. So now, next time you see someone having a stroke, don't panic. Just reach for an Irish coffee. And give the sick guy one, too. I'm Bob Harris, KNX 1070.
The following is a paid announcement.
I'm Sandra Feldman, president of the American Federation of Teachers, the AFT. There's a growing recognition in our country that all Americans should have access to decent, affordable health care. More than 10 million children and 30 million adults have no health insurance at all. Few can pay for even the most basic medical care. Many seniors have to choose between buying food or prescriptions, and our infant mortality rate is disgracefully high. A good first step toward improving health care would be to enact the Patient's Bill of Rights, which passed the U.S. House of Representatives last month. The bill gives doctors, nurses, and other healthcare professionals the right to make medical decisions without interference. Healthcare employees who blow the whistle on improper medical practices would be protected, and HMOs would be accountable for the quality of their patient care. As the richest nation in the world, we can make sure all Americans have good health care. It's time to get moving.
A message from the American Federation of Teachers.
6:44, traffic with Christina Griego.
We're going to begin in Anaheim Hills, and that's where we have Chuck Rowe. Chuck?
Eastbound side of the Riverside Freeway, Chris, just beyond Lakeview Avenue, this injury accident involving a jackknife big rig is blocking the two right-hand lanes. A SIG alert's been issued here. Traffic is jammed up solid on the eastbound 91, leaving the 55. Once you get beyond that, because of the bottleneck, you do get a little break there, and then it's heavy again, approaching Weir Canyon on your way out into Corona. Chris?
Now, speaking of which, Chuck, we have reports of a crash now on the 91 freeway near the 15. We're getting reports it's on the eastbound just before the 15, and now a conflicting report that it's on the westbound before Main Street. At any rate, Chuck is en route to look at this for us, and it's apparently multi-car crash, left lane, right shoulder. Now, if you're heading into Ventura, you may want to slow down. One of our tipsters says right at Victoria on the 101, the fog is rolling in, and you're down to less than 100 feet of visibility there, so please watch your speeds. Let's go out to Steve Cusack over the valley.
Northbound side of the 405 is pretty slow as you leave Sherman Way. Stays slow up past Nordoff, almost towards about Devonshire. Then it breaks loose, and actually it looks pretty good up towards the 118. Chris?
And I'll be back in 6 minutes with more traffic. KNX 1070.
We have 58 degrees currently here in Hollywood. Our humidity 75%, and we're starting to see some of that fog rolling toward us here in Hollywood. 6:45 on KNX Sports Time, sponsored by Otto Stiegler, Mercedes-Benz. A troubled NFL running back has apparently worn out his welcome again. Here's Steve Grad to tell us who this guy is.
Lawrence Phillips in trouble at Nebraska. Went to the NFL first round with the St. Louis Rams, blew it there. Went to the Miami Dolphins. They thought they could reclaim him, blew it there. Went to the World Football League or World League of American Football or whatever the NFL is foisting upon the Europeans. Did very well there. 49ers thought, we can use him. Blew it there. They suspended him today for conduct detrimental to the team. He's not making the trip to New Orleans. He was supposed to come in there and replace Garrison Hurst, who was injured, but he's only been doing spot duty this year. He has carried 30 times for 144 yards. He does have a 68-yard touchdown run, the longest 49er rush from scrimmage this year, but he's out again. College basketball, top-ranked UConn beat number 10 Duke 71-66 in a rematch of last year's championship game. And that was the first game victory of the season for Connecticut, which lost to Iowa in the opening game of the Coaches versus Cancer tournament. Right now, Iowa trails number 13 Stanford 28-23 with 4:40 to go in the first half. In the NBA, 3 finals. Miami 104, Washington 95. Philadelphia beats Chicago 95-86. And Boston down New York 80-74. Then the Lakers host the Rockets tonight. Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barkley will not be suited up. They're serving their 1-game suspensions following their fight at Houston on Wednesday night. Laker veteran John Sally won a couple of NBA titles with the Pistons back in the 80s and 2 more with the Bulls in the early 90s, says the Shaq-Sir Charles battle was not a typical NBA bout.
If you ever see an NBA play, it's a lot of talk, take your mouthpiece out, shove, pull a ref in front of you. That's how it is. What? Ref. I'll get you back later. That's an NBA fight.
Lakers activated Robert. I liked his description, by the way. They activated Robert Horry, who'd had an injured left knee, and to make room for him, they waived Sam Jacobson, who'd been doing very little playing. Looks like the Dodgers have a chance of losing Adrian Beltre. They could declare Beltre, the third baseman, a free agent because the Dodgers apparently discovered they signed him before he was 16 years old in the Dominican Republic. That was back in '94, and you can't do that with foreign-born players. So if he's a free agent, they won't be even allowed to re-sign him. Kevin Ory was picked up from Florida today as a backup third baseman for a minor leaguer. Fred Couples, David Duvall, a 5-shot lead after the first round of the Shark Shootout. Martina Hingis, Lindsay Davenport, Venus Williams, Natalie Tauzier, quarterfinal winners at the Advanta. And we'll update you on all the hockey in the next broadcast. Sports 15 and 45. Steve Grad, KNX 1070.
Hello, I'm John Stiegler Sr. For over 40 years, Otto Stiegler has gained the trust and the respect of thousands of Mercedes-Benz clients. The joy while taking delivery of their Mercedes-Benz is remembered by 16,000 photos adorning the walls of Otto Stiegler's stunning 5-story, ultra-modern Mercedes-Benz facility.
Hi there, this is Jim Buring, and I'm just wanting to say that my wife and I shopped many dealers throughout the area, and nowhere were we treated as nicely as we were at Otto Stiegler. The whole experience was the most beautiful car purchase I've ever made in my life.
Otto Stiegler's exclusive, family-owned and operated Mercedes-Benz retail center on Ventura Boulevard in Encino, and Otto Stiegler's collision and paint center. And Otto Stiegler's finest men's fashion boutique in the Century City Shopping Center, 818-788-0234 or www.autostiegler.com.
Business has been around for quite a while, and just when we thought it had been perfected, the internet came along and changed everything. Everything, that is, except the things that never change. You either succeed or fade away. You either stay informed or stay home. And that's where we come in. We're Red Herring, and we've been covering the business of technology and all the business that technology touches since before .com was common. Our insider perspective and our experienced intellect allow us to guide our readers and users in the right direction, not the trendy one. Through our magazine, website, strategic business conferences, and television appearances, we'll be the first to tell you what's happening and the only ones to tell you why it matters. Log on to redherring.com and get a head start on something far more valuable than business as usual. Get Red Herring and get into business now.
KNX News Time, 6:49.
Know what people do? When they feel an earthquake, they punch up 1070 on the radio. That's KNX 1070, News Radio.
The Museum of Flying at the Santa Monica Airport and the Sino-American Aviation Heritage Foundation will be hosting a Veterans Week celebration of the Flying Tigers.
The Flying Tigers were the most famous and illustrious part of America's defense of China during World War II, and on Sunday, 3 of the living legends out of the original 100 will be at the Museum of Flying, along with the planes they flew. And all the planes will be airborne from 1:30 on in continuous flying demonstrations. Eric Schilling was one of those Flying Tigers, volunteers who thrust themselves into an epic 7-month air campaign to defeat the Japanese and save China.
One of the things that induced me to go to China was seeing a little baby at the railroad in Shanghai, sitting deserted, and here was this little baby about a year old or less in a bombed-out railroad station crying and wanting help. That's the main thing that made me go to China.
Schilling volunteered for the Flying Tigers and flew the first combat mission. So if you want to meet a true American war hero, make it out to the celebration, Santa Monica Airport, beginning at 11 a.m. Sunday. Reporting from the Museum of Flying in Santa Monica, Michael Ambrosini, KNX 1070.
KNX News Time, 6:51.
Speed up your internet with FastPoint. Now get installation equipment and first month service free, plus a $150 rebate. Call 1-888-8DSL now for details, or on the web at fastpointdsl.com.
Traffic and weather together on KNX, sponsored by the Auto Insurance Specialist. Chris?
Just getting off the phone with one of our tipsters about the drive out of South Orange County. Northbound 405, you're going to see traffic starting to load up right around MacArthur, and it stays very slow through the Costa Mesa area. But just past John Wayne Airport, we're getting reports of a stall that's plugging up the fast lane, and that's adding to the slow ride. And it stays very crowded all the way up to just past Brookers. Once you get past Brookers, it's a pretty good ride into Still Beach North on the 405. Chuck Rowe has a nice long look at the 91 freeway.
And what a mess this freeway is this afternoon, Chris. Eastbound side of the 91 past Lakeview. That's where we have our Sigillard injury accident there. The two right lanes are blocked, and that's got you jammed up solid from the 55. Once you get past that, expected to be heavy again, leaving right around the Weir Canyon area. It'll stay slow out into Corona. That's where we've got our other accident, East 91 at Main Street. The two left lanes blocked here, and that's just adding to the slowing as you work your way out toward the 15. Chris.
Good news for your ride in Rosemead. East on the 10 at Walnut Grove, or right around Rosemead, we had an accident with injuries blocking the carpool fast lane. That's been cleared, but traffic's still slow from City Terrace. Back soon with more traffic. KNX 1070.
Some current temperatures around the Southland. Van Nuys, 71 degrees. Burbank, 71. In the deserts of Palmdale, 63 degrees. Palm Springs, 79. Along the coast, San Diego, foggy skies, 63 degrees. Santa Ana, clear and 63. Long Beach, mostly clear skies and 62 degrees. KNX News Time, 6:52. In a minute, we'll check business news in the marketplace.
This is Jim Thornton for AIS, the Auto Insurance Specialists. With traffic to do every 6 minutes here on KNX and a 2-year-old waiting for me when I get home, I know how precious time is. So believe me, I wouldn't steer you wrong when it comes to quickly and easily saving money on car insurance. When you call the Auto Insurance Specialists at 1-800-772-4AIS, you will immediately be put through to an AIS agent who will choose the absolute lowest rate from one of 30 individual insurance companies. It takes only a few minutes to get a quote. And hey, you'll be making good use of what little time you have nowadays. I tried it myself, full of skepticism, and I was amazed when AIS saved me nearly $300 on my premium, giving me the same coverage I already had in place. Sounds like I'd better get back to work. Look, don't waste more time or money. Call the Auto Insurance Specialists at 1-800-772-4247. But if you're driving, don't take your eyes off the road. It's 1-800-772-4AIS.
CNN-FN in the marketplace. I'm Rachel Lee. President Clinton has signed into law a financial reform measure that lifts Depression-era barriers among banks, brokerages, and insurance companies. They'll now be able to merge and sell each other's products. The president calls the measure good for consumers.
This will, first of all, save consumers billions of dollars a year through enhanced competition. It will also protect the rights of consumers. It will guarantee that our financial system will continue to meet the needs of underserved communities.
Supporters of the bill had been pushing it in Congress for 2 decades. Brown and Williamson is attacking the Disney movie The Insider. The tobacco company took out a full-page newspaper ad charging the film with maliciously distorting the truth about a tobacco industry whistleblower. 2 new economic reports out today: worker productivity and retail sales. Workers produced more goods in the third quarter at an annual rate of 4.2%. Scudder Kemper Investments chief economist Maureen Allen explains what's behind the sharp jump.
Last quarter growth was slow, and so they just put the brakes on hiring, which means that of this quarter productivity goes up because growth was fast, and those fewer people, or not much of a growth in people on the payroll, just did a lot more.
Meanwhile, retail sales were steady in October. Americans spent less on cars and furniture and more for hardware, building supplies, and clothes. Analysts say the combination of productivity and retail sales decreased the chance of an interest rate hike next week. Filene's Basement plans to lay off 900 employees. The retail chain plans to close a number of stores to emerge from Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. The company wants to keep stores in New York, Chicago, and Massachusetts. Some Burger King restaurants are experiencing shortages of the popular Pokemon toys that come with kids' meals. At some restaurants, a week's supply disappeared in a few days. Now this.
Need a little help with laptops? Deciding you want a laptop only means you've got more decisions. Some people want lightweight for travel, but others are buying laptops just to gain space on cluttered desks. And if that's you, that could definitely be me. Then you'll probably want features like a bigger screen. If you're comparing, though, remember a 14.1-inch laptop screen is the same thing as a 15-inch desktop. How will you use it most? That's where you want to start.
Brought to you by Cozone.com, the place to find computer help and buy what's right for you. Cozone.com. We can help.
Christy Baum has been through 50 jobs in the past year.
Well, there was the airline pilot job, maintenance work.
As a Liberty Mutual nurse case manager, she helps people recover from work-related injuries by visiting their workplace and examining the physical demands of their job.
Glass blowing.
And that's helped save our customers over 675,000 disability days.
And oh yeah, the chicken farm.
It's called insurance in action.
I'm Christy Baum, one of the hundreds of experts at Liberty Mutual Insurance, helping you live a safer, more secure life. Work safe.
With CNN-FN in the marketplace, I'm Rachel Lee.
Today, we're going to peek into the world of small business.
Pembroke peanuts.
My name is Roy, and I'd like to order some pistachios.
We only sell peanuts, sir.
Hazelnuts?
Sorry.
Pine nuts?
No.
Roy is what we call a line squatter. Roy's type can go on like this all afternoon.
Walnuts?
No.
Tying up your phone line so when other potential customers call, well, let's see what happens. Ooh, tough break.
This wouldn't have happened with Pacific Bell voicemail. It's a productivity tool that handles the overflow when your lines are busy.
Macadamia?
No.
So when the big call comes, you don't miss it.
Yeah, I need every peanut you've got in stock.
Welcome to newfound productivity. You've already got the phones. What you do with them is up to you. Get Pacific Bell voicemail and get 1 month free. Call 1-800-540-8020, extension 540. Offer expires November 30th, 1999. Offer for new customers only. Other terms apply. Pacific Bell voicemail is provided by Pacific Bell Information Services.
Pacific Bell, your how-to, hands-on, problem-solving friend.
Traffic and weather together on KNX at 6:57. Christina Griego.
Both sides of the 405 on the west side double ugly between the 90 Marina Freeway and the Sepulveda Pass. Both sides of the Hollywood Freeway, same situation, barely crawling between the downtown area and the Cahuenga Pass. Let's go out to Tommy Jackson over Pacoima.
Northbound side of the 5 at Terabella. Lanes are clear now. North 5 really tightens up from Lancashire. North 170 is congested from Roscoe. Once you clear Terabella, North 5 up to the 118, your top speed, Chris.
Sick alert in Anaheim Hills. East on the 91 just past Lakeview. The 2 right lanes blocked. Injury wreck involving a jackknife rig. Traffic backed up from the 55. East of here, we have Chuck Rowe over Corona.
Eastbound side of the 91 past Main Street, Chris. Another accident here. Injuries involved. The left lane's tied up. That's just going to add to the slowing, leaving the 71. A very slow ride heading out to the 15. Chris.
And that's traffic on KNX.
Now, the Travelers weather forecast for tomorrow, sponsored by Zircom. If you're going to Boston, look for a high of 51 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Cleveland, 61 and sunny. Dallas, 81 and sunny skies. Denver, 75 and clear. Las Vegas, 81 degrees and fair skies. Phoenix, 91 and sunny. Portland, 65 degrees, mostly cloudy skies after a half an inch of rain yesterday. Washington, D.C., partly cloudy skies and a high tomorrow of 65 degrees.
Miles, in this spot for the Zircom RealPort integrated PC card, we really want to emphasize this offer of the free backpack.
Backpack?
Yes, Miles. Laptop computer users can get a free Targus backpack with the purchase of any selected Zircom product at CompUSA.
It's a $69 value, Miles.
Just tell me what it is you want in the depths of your ignorance.
Miles, perhaps you could just read the script.
There's too much directing going on around here.
Let's take 1 or 2.
Take 1 or 2. Buy any selected Zircom product at CompUSA.